of the World Wide Web. So it's Sunday, we did a double bill, and yes, as the thing would show, the title, the little clip, can't even get the thing, little pitch would show, obviously this is Paddington in Peru. Now I took my wife and in-laws to go see this movie. It was the first showing, so we were some of the first people in the UK to watch this movie. The previous two were directed by Paul King. This one is directed by Douglas Wilson. For some reason, Paul King did not want to direct this, but he pitched the idea to Doug Wilson, and that's why it was taken on. We have basically returning cast of Hugh Bonneville as Henry the dad. You have Emily Mortimer replacing the previous actress as the mum. There has been no official reason why that was done. You have Ben Whishaw as Paddington, and then you have Emilia Stanton as Aunt Lucy, who's done the voice for her there. And then we have a few new members that come along. So Hayley Atwell in a few scenes as Madison, Olivia Colman as Reverend Mother, Antonio Banderas as Hunter Cabot, and Carla Toos as Gina Cabot, daughter. So the story of this is essentially that Paddington has been communicating with Aunt Lucy, and then decides he gets his passport and wants to go to Peru to see his aunt. When he gets there, she is missing, and then he goes on a whirlwind adventure, also potentially tied in with maybe his origins. That is the story in a very nutshell. There is a tiny little bit, kind of the trailers. I would advise you to stay not all the way to the end, but there is a little added scene with a person I'm not going to mention in this, but I thought was very enjoyable. Tipped this off. This movie is an hour and 46 minutes long. And I did enjoy this movie, so let's stick the spoiler warning up and let's dig into this. So yes, this movie starts with Paddington Bear, as we've seen in the trailer, getting a picture for his passport, and basically once he has his passport, he knows he can travel anywhere, and it kind of is building up to an adventure. You then have Paddington discussing the changes within the Brown household, of how the kids are growing up and how the boy is kind of does experiments and these contraptions. The girl wants to kind of travel. The dad, Henry, he has progressed up the ladder in his job, and he's been kind of taken over, and this is where we meet Hayley Atwell and a few other people who have come in to kind of re-show or kind of spruce up his kind of insurance company that he works for, basically telling him to take risks a little bit more rather than very, kind of a subtle undertone to the story. And that's where we have it. And we have Paddington, this kind of whole, the kids growing up and, the daughter moving out and stuff, and the mum is very much upset and stuff like this. And then they decide to go to Peru to see Aunt Lucy, and to visit her. So this is where the movie starts off. You have Reverend Mother, played by Olivia Colman. She sends a letter to Paddington and just says, look, your aunt is seems a little distant. She's been a little strange recently. Please come and visit her, but don't tell her to visit. And that spurs them all on to do this trip. So they travel there, get there, and Aunt Lucy is nowhere to be seen. You see a montage with the nuns sing the song, led by Olivia Colman. Very much suspicious. She's quite clued off the bat what's happening here. And then this leads the family to search, and Paddington finds a map to a place where he believes that could be linked to his childhood, and potentially where Aunt Lucy is. So they hire a boat, obviously run by Antonio Banderas. You see this in the trailer. He is Hunter Cabot, and obviously he got his daughter. You see very early on that he has kind of a ancestry that is linked to this place, and basically they believe Aunt Lucy has gone to El Dorado, not the chip shop that is shown in the trailer, and unfortunately his sickness has plagued Antonio Banderas' family except for his daughter. His daughter's kind of the sound of reasoning, and due to a altercation that they have one night, they both end up getting knocked off the boat. This leaves Paddington to kind of wake up with the Browns, realise no one's steering the boat, and then the boat crashes and they kind of get marooned on part of the Amazon forest, or in Peru. And then it's kind of them trying to find their way. As they trying to find their way and kind of Paddington is having a dream and reflecting, he then kind of comes across this first cornerstone of the map, the first journey to the El Dorado, and then is also confronted by Hunter Cabot, who is, after being knocked off the boat earlier, they meet up. And then they go on this journey to basically find El Dorado, because Paddington has figured out kind of the key. And then this is them two doing it, the Brown family slowly following, and then obviously the nun, or the Reverend Mother, with the help of the landlady, and I can't remember her name, I didn't write down, they kind of follow on suit afterwards. Hijinks ensue as you go through all of it until you get to the final kind of big temple with a massive wall. And then there is a kind of confrontation of Antonio Banderas then hunts Paddington because he's kind of ill with his sickness, and all the others then turn up at the same time. They kind of stop Antonio with a kind of triple laminated binder. I won't say any more than that. And this is when Reverend Mother does the kind of turn and realise that she is the cousin of Hunter Cabot, and she is also afflicted with this kind of money lust, because they all want the gold that is in El Dorado. Antonio Banderas deciding that he doesn't, Olivia Colman's character has Antonio Banderas' character's daughter with a gun. Basically Antonio decides that the money's not worth it, he wants his family, and kind of shakes this kind of cursed, and then they are kind of reunited and stopping Olivia Colman. This is when the whole family realise that there is the trinket that Aunt Lucy has always had, which was actually Paddington's, is actually the key to the door. They open it up and then they are confronted with El Dorado, which is actually El Dorado oranges. There is no gold, and this is the bears that live there that have kind of been the secret guardians. They have rescued Aunt Lucy from the Reverend Mother. She tried to sabotage her, so to speak, early in the movie. This is the kind of whole Paddington finding his clan, where he is from, but then ultimately deciding that as much as they are his clan and stuff like that, that the Brown are his family, and he goes back to London, and then there kind of is a little montage at the end of the bears coming to visit him, and you know, life is kind of complete. All the kids kind of go up and do their things and stuff like this, and it makes kind of the story complete. I think this is where they're going to do. I don't think they will do a third one, or they can do one, and obviously they have the scene after the credits. What did I think of this movie? I will rate this movie 6. Now, I did enjoy this movie. There were a few funny moments in it that were quite comical. You could tell it was a very much different directorial style, that the director was different from 1 and 2. I much prefer 1 and 2. 2 I thought was I'm not sure if I would put 1 or 2 as the top, but this definitely, it's enjoyable as a Paddington movie, but I think it's just missing a little bit of that spark. I think quite a lot of it is given away. You know, it's good to round off the Paddington story, and they tied everything up, and it is a nice family movie that people would enjoy. I just don't think there was as many laughs, and as I say, in a different directorial and different directions and all this kind of secret stuff, it wasn't quite as clever as I think the first 1 and 2 were. I think 1 was really, really good, and I think it was very clever how they did the second one to kind of twist and stuff like this. I just don't think it perfectly gelled as the other ones did. For me, I think they missed a spot, the fact that it starts off with Paddington describing how the family have moved on, and I'm like, why didn't they mention that Paddington was like, oh, recently I think the mum has just, there's something about her that just doesn't seem to think, and then have a running gag, pardon me, throughout the movie of going like, have you cut your hair? Like, you know, have you lost some weight? And just Paddington doing jokes that the mum looks different, because I think that would have been absolutely hilarious, because it's a different actress. Obviously, we don't know the reasons why. I suspect because she was in The Shape of Water, and obviously there was quite, or she did a nude scene in that maybe the studio weren't too happy with her returning. But who knows? I enjoyed it. It was, it was an enjoyable family movie, as that's why it's got 6. You know, it's better than average, because it had you know, the Paddington has done very well. Like, you see Paddington as a kid, and I say the extra scene at the end, I think really tipped it off. I think it made it better from what the ending actually was. But it's not amazing in my eyes. But anyway, that has been my review of Paddington in Peru. Have you seen this movie? Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time, and I shall see you in the next one.